Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Monday to one and to all. And I promise you, this is going to be extremely quick. Good morning, Dinesh Vlogs. How are you? Thank you for taking a moment to stop through. And to those who may catch the replay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you. I know that there are many that listen from abroad, so you will probably sleep by now and will hear it later. But anyway, this is just going to be a quick message. Number one, prayerfully, everyone is doing well and safe, and those still recovering or waiting for power to be restored as a result of Hurricane Helene. Your thoughts, your prayers will be answered. Just stand on faith with that. Again, hurricane season, as I mentioned, and other nature related events are inevitable. I spoke about this actually, started a podcast with a content creator a year or so ago, but they decided that beef was more lucrative, and in a sense, it is, so I understand that. But these very things were spoken about as far as preparation. Number one, keeping items. I'm doing well, Dinesh. Prayerfully, you are too. But having items available, not only in your homes, as I've mentioned, but your vehicles and your office, if that applies to you, and those supplies and those kits should also include family members. We never know when these situations may attack our area. And as I mentioned, and if you've been around long enough, you'll know that sometimes the paths of these storms can change quickly, where you may not have enough time to prepare. So, for me, and again, everything that I say, unless I'm showing documents to actually substantiate what it is that I say, are my opinions. But from experience, it is better to be prepared ahead of time. And I think I'll put up a link later on after I get situated at work to that podcast where you can actually see some of the resources and suggestions that were given. Dinesh, I determine who I decide to give a blue jacket to. So please respectfully do not come to this platform and ask for that. Understood? Thank you. So I'll go through my video bucket and find that so anyone interested can get some ideas, because you do not want to be in a situation where you may be caught in your vehicle with nothing, and you have absolutely no idea how long it may take for a first responder to get to you. So there are many things many gems dropped in that video, and it's unfortunate that it couldn't continue, but who knows what the future may bring. Secondly, I wanted to, and this is going to be a difficult day for me. This month was pretty difficult, but today, most definitely, I've shared this before, and um, today would have been the 32nd birthday of my son, Dorian. Unfortunately, as a result of domestic violence, he only survived for 12 minutes. And that was back in 1992. So when I say I have had challenges and heartache and heartbreak, I truly have. Yet, even though it's difficult, I still stand and try. I attempt to share these things with others who are going through storms. And many of us are going through storms. They may be different, but I believe hurt is hurt, and we all process hurt in different ways. I've also mentioned where a lot of things that I've experienced, I've kept dormant in my system. So if it appears that I've lashed out a little lately, that's one of the reasons why. So don't be surprised if every now and again you may hear certain things. So, again, a happy birthday, heavenly birthday to my son, Dorian, who was born and transitioned both on September the 30th, 1992. Next, I wanted to speak real briefly about support. I ran across a page earlier, and the message was so strong and deep. And this particular content creator, he has a pretty decent following, and he is monetized, but he spoke about support and how he has blessed many platforms, but when the level of his blessings started to slow, so did the support he began to receive. I've noticed, and again, I could be wrong, there's still many things I have to learn. I noticed there are certain people who will give abundantly to people. And if you're doing that and you're truly being altruistic with that, meaning you expect nothing in return, you're not expecting a shout out or a highlight, you're giving cheerfully, and there's nothing wrong with that. But in my opinion, when there are strings attached, therein lies a problem. You appear to be disingenuous. Now, when I give because I truly support those content creators. Now, it's not always going to be financial. I've said that in the beginning, and I'm going to repeat that. I do have responsibilities of my own, but I try to at least come by and listen. And if I cannot participate in a live, I will catch the replay on downtime and give your video a like. And if time permits, I'll leave a comment. I will do something to let you know that I've been there. One thing that I've noticed, and I've said this months ago, when it comes to, I'm just going to be honest, and this is just from my observations, when it comes to some of our people, we have a problem with leaving a like. Even though you may listen, you have a problem of giving a thumbs up or a comment unless it's supporting the arguments or the fussing backwards and forth. But when there are conversations, positive conversations, or conversations that can enlighten and inform, many don't pay attention to that or leave comments towards that because it's not glamorous or it's not where the revenue is generated. Again, from a business standpoint, I understand that. But if you say that you support someone, a like is free, a comment is free, even an emoji in the comment section is free. I'm going to let that marinate for a couple of moments before I continue. I recently put on my community wall someone with whom I do support. That someone does not look like me. That page speaks about stocks, and if you're into scratch offs, that's something that my cousin absolutely loves. I don't gamble anymore nor do scratch offs, but those are things that certain people enjoy. So, again, I don't judge what people enjoy and what they do, especially if it helps to bless other people. So, for those of you that may have time, and I'll post links and pages of those that I listen to often on my wall so you can see some of the areas that I actually visit. This one was, to me, a tearjerker, and it was Nora of the Stock Explorer, where they will randomly scratch off with people, strangers actually, on the street. And the latest that she did was for a woman who I believe is a cancer survivor. So it was just, it was a tearjerker. So there are many people out here who actually not only just talk, but they're out helping others, strangers, just because. And I could be wrong, but the individual appeared that they may have been on the street for a while. A lot of people are going through so many devastating things right now. A lot of people have been in the hospital. I myself have been not too long ago, actually, the 27th marked my 4th month out. And I wouldn't be honest if I didn't say that I still have certain fears that it may happen again. I'm no stranger to an emergency room or urgent care or the hospital, but I've never experienced what I did then. And I was blessed to be able to come out without what I was told I would need. So for me, and this is just for me, prayer and faith can truly go a long way, as well as your deeds, in my opinion. I have helped many people in certain ways, and now that some of them have reached the goals or motives that they had, I don't see nor hear from them. And it's okay. I understand. I understand now how the mind works for certain people. And I also know that there are certain content creators, and I don't listen to them because there was a narrative pushed that if you don't look like us, then there's a problem. Well, let me let everyone who is listening or may listen, the majority, not all, but the majority of support that I've received, either by liking, sharing, or donating, whether I was monetized or not, came from and continues to come from those who don't look like me. That speaks volumes and it says a lot. I had to sit back and reassess certain things. Hey there, Angel, how are you doing? Everyone, soul, 90s, everyone. I have supporters from all over, but the majority of those who do support and listen to the entire broadcast or put up a like or share, they don't look like me. And you've been on my stream, so you know this. You know this. Now, if I'm arguing or if I'm involved in a kerfuffle, maybe, but anything positive or educational or enlightening, a lot of people, unfortunately, they don't want to listen to that, or they don't engage in the chat. But if it's on some bullshit, which many of us that look like me are on, that's where you see the engagement. They say black and brown people are the largest consumers. And I see, and I have to laugh, so much currency, and people can do what they want to do, invest it into bullshit, where there are actually people on the street. And keep in mind, holidays are coming up. Many people may not celebrate holidays, but there are people, families, that are hungry. There are fundraisers for people who are ill. There are people in hospitals now. In my opinion, that's where those who can afford to donate hundreds, that's where that can go, in my opinion, because it helps people who need help. I'm doing well, Angel. It's almost October the 1st. So this is just again a quick Monday message of certain things that I've observed and wanted to speak about really, really quickly. I've heard people refer to certain folks as the C word if they have people of other races on panels speaking about some of the behaviors of brown and black people. Unfortunately, those platforms, in my opinion, are spot on. Yes, soul 90s R&B hits. Raccoon, if you need to know. I'm pretty sure you know what it is I'm trying to say. And I'm beginning to get a feeling that you're trolling. I hope I'm incorrect with that. And that's something that I don't tolerate. So if that's something that you are doing, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. But if it is, you may want to stop now before I do it for you. I may be. I may be from your opinion, and you're entitled to that. But I pay attention to many comments, and I can't let, and I'm not going to allow people to just say and do certain things any longer. I've done it long enough, and I'm not. Okay, I was asking, so I was asking. So now that you say that you don't, there should be no further issues. But as I was saying, a lot of things, in my opinion, have been and are played. I heard someone mention or advised a certain content creator about what damage another content creator. And if you've been around the sector long enough, I actually did a live in reference to that individual. You know the type of damage that this person can cause. But this content creator knows one of the troll names, and the troll name often shows up in that chat. So I'm beginning to think a lot of that may be a play. And it's sad that people have to resort to that. I don't believe in that, and I don't do it. If I have an issue, then I'm going to speak on it. I'm not going to manufacture an argument or a disagreement with someone. And contrary to what some of you all believe, there are several people involved in certain things. Yet and still, and I do have to laugh, you sit there and listen to it and you actually believe it. Said it before, and I'm going to repeat it. Sooner or later, everything truly will be exposed. Look at, if time permits, just as an experiment of the content certain people put out. If it's the same day in, day out, that should open some of your eyes. But in my opinion, because some of you have to be a part of the cool kids group, you refuse to call out the bullshit. You cheer it on. You cheer it on. And what you may not understand or realize is you're enabling bad behavior from both the women and the men. And collectively, you're adding to stereotypes that have been placed on many brown and black people. I do, but see, no one really wants to listen to that, or others do. And they'll bring it to their platforms and make it as though it's coming directly from them. I've seen, and I don't say anything, people speak on the exact same things, but because others gravitate towards fuck shit platforms that they may not have heard it before, but a lot of these things people are saying I've said this years ago, so it's really not new. And I laugh at it a lot of times. Hey there, Mukbang, how are you? Good morning. I'm going to say this again, and this word is coming up a lot. And when I make certain comments, it's not addressed, which to me confirms my thought. And again, I have no definitive proof, so I cannot say this is exactly what's going on. But as far as doxing is concerned, there are certain people who say they don't do that. Yeah, you do. And you've been doing it for a long time. And some of you, I believe, are sharing information because some of you, and this is just my opinion, you don't, you're not smart enough to do certain things independently. And you're getting information from other people who actually have the resources to provide it to you. I say that because of conversation, speech, terrible grammar. If you cannot successfully put together a subject or predicate, it's very hard for me to believe you're capable of, number one, knowing where to go to get certain information, and number two, to properly dissect it and then present it. And I've said this before, and I'm going to repeat it. Some of you may need to slow down on that. You really do. Because you're playing and toying with other people's lives. A lot of people that have nothing to do with what's going on the platform. And unfortunately, a couple of years ago, when Susan was the CEO, she's no longer. It was a free for all. People were doing all kinds of things, and nothing was being done. People had to handle things off of the platform. Many people called for her resignation. I know she's no longer there. I do not know what happened to her, but many things have changed now. So, those of you who are not aware, and again, I'm going to say it ad nauseum, certain things some people should not be doing, period. Period. And you want to put a disclaimer up that it's not for malicious intent, when in fact, in my opinion, it is. I've heard someone for almost a year now speak about someone else saying that they're doing the same thing that they're doing. Well, how would you know that they're doing the same thing that you're doing unless you're watching them? And you refer to people as being jealous. No, in my opinion, you're the jealous one. You're the jealous one. And You're dishonest. See, unfortunately, for some people, money will lead them to choose a side and stick with the narrative, even though they don't agree. But as long as the pockets are being filled, they'll do what needs to be done. That says a lot to me about the character and integrity of many people on this platform. Fortunately enough for me, I actually listen to people of substance now. I do go to other channels and listen to BS. Some of it's entertaining, and that's what many people do. But there should be balance. There should be a level of balance where you're actually learning and you're understanding things that are going on. And I listen to many of those platforms and I try to share so people will be aware of what's going on in the world, what things are plaguing a certain demographic or demographics. And trust me, there are plenty. There are plenty. The men out here who are gossiping, you're adding to the label of effeminate males. I'm going to address this, and a few people may be upset. You'll get over it. If you're 50 years or older, I may say 40 years or older, and you're talking about pulling up on someone or having a fight with someone, knowing, knowing good and darn well you have absolutely no intentions on doing that. And it never happens. Not only have you made yourselves look like fools, those people who are cheering it on look foolish too for believing in that. Fathers, head of households, true leaders in communities, they don't behave like that. They don't. And again, to me, this is just me, it's an embarrassment. And again, you're adding to stereotypes. If you go to certain pages, you'll see some of the comments. Many of the comments think that all women of color just twerk. And use vulgar language all day, or sit and collect government assistance. because some of us don't want to get up off of our lazy asses and work or continue to have children and be supported by the government. No, that's not for everyone, but there are some. I had a client who did just that. At 26 years old, she had 8 children and was receiving child support for at least 6 of them. The government provided her this huge home, and she was driving around in a Tahoe. It's examples like that that other cultures may see and lump everyone in the same category. And it is not fair to those who are not in that category. That's the point I'm trying to make. If you are on this platform and this is your business, absolutely flourish in that. But be mindful, other people emulate and watch what you do. I have never seen a level of disrespect towards women and some men that I've seen, and their language. Now, again, I don't have a clean note. I do try to minimize what I say if it's not presentable. But I can't always guarantee that. Go ahead with your question, Soul. But the point is, there are a lot of people that are gaslighting and they're not being honest with you. And some of you are afraid to call it out because you want to remain part of a group. And in my opinion, that gives off cult like vibes. And that's dangerous. Just curious, when you say level of disrespect, is it amongst blacks exclusively? Absolutely not. But a large percentage of what I see, and again, what I see, yes. And there are a lot of people that feed into it. And I don't see how some of those conversations are adding value to the person who is saying it and the people who follow it. Nothing. Some of these individuals, and I don't want to sound any way that may sound or is received disrespectful, but it comes to the component of conveying their thoughts. It just comes off bad. I've heard some, this is just a quick example, and then I'm going to shut this down. But I have heard many people say, what is you talking about? That's incorrect. And when you listen to people say this over and over and over and over, you say it, and then others will say it, and then others will say it, and that's how you poison the community. Because if you listen to something long enough, eventually, for many people, you pick that up, and it's wrong. Learn the basics of grammar, expand your vocabulary. There are many platforms that look like me who do just that and can take a topic and speak on it intelligently. You want to uplift your people and do the work to do that. Some of these people, I can't even understand what it is that they're saying. Proper communication and even use words contextually correct have now become things of the past. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's embarrassing. And again, nobody calls this out. Nobody calls this out. But if I say something about it and, oh, you think you're better than anyone else? No, actually, I do not. But I do know how it can hurt others. Again, and how these types of behaviors fuel stereotypes. That's the issue that I have. And when you have larger platforms who encourage it and they do the same thing, it doesn't help. So it really depends on what's really important to you. Educating the masses or lining your pockets. Unfortunately, from what I've seen in this particular sector, is lining of the pockets. Uplifting and educating has gone out the window. It's gone out the window. Again, if there's a balance There's nothing wrong. But if you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over, then that's what you are. That's what you truly represent. And I'll say this again because I've been around for a little bit. A lot of people have been so dishonest. And now that the heat is on, they want to hide their hands and pretend they haven't done this or they knew this. No, you didn't. And I'm going to say that again. No, you didn't. Saul says, what adds insult to injury is many people who use bad communication are not doing it because of a lack of intelligence. Some of them are not, but there are many, um, unfortunately, do lack it. And it's obvious. It's been obvious. I'm going to say it again. You can absolutely have a level of intelligence, but why would you hide that? Why would you hide it? That's something, personally, I would be proud of. I would be anxious to show. Saul says we have to reinforce the idea that being intelligent is not nerdy or bad in any way. It's godly, and that's point on. It's not nerdy or bad, but many people, many foolish people, many ignorant people do not understand that concept. I'm sorry, you said my volume went down. No, I was saying you're absolutely right. And those that who engage in such behavior, they attract a following that adds to it, unfortunately. For many, that's unpopular, so you won't get certain comments when you speak on things. But again, if it's bullshit, you will from certain people. So the message of today is this is the last day of this month. We have two more before, God willing, we enter a new year. I hope many of you are making plans or adding to the plans and the goals that you've set. And Soul says the confirmation bias in our community is strong and not in a good way. Absolutely. I think many people should truly listen to certain elders who've already gone through this and understand the basic mechanics. But again, that may be difficult for some people. Not all. I think some are getting the idea. But it's just this, it's the look, I believe, of things and being afraid to be labeled as something that may tend to lead to people not really speaking on how it is they really feel. Again, how you conduct yourself through conversation, delivery, and what it is you write says a lot. And you can also, if you truly pay attention, see exactly who may be conversing. And I hear a lot of people saying conversating. It's conversing behind the scenes. The same poor grammar is used. Spelling is used. All caps is used. You see the same. And lastly, I'm going to go back to the doxing thing. Some of you are interested or have been interested in the ownership of property and marriages, but you never, at least I haven't seen it yet, questioned others. And that tells me there's definitely behind the scenes conversations going on. If you're going to speak about it on one, it should be spoken about on everyone. But it's not done. Why is that? I know, but I wonder if anyone else is taking time to actually pay attention to certain things. And again, are you afraid to voice your opinions because you don't want to be kicked out of a group? That's not being true to yourself. That's being a follower. And you have no idea where you're being led. Conversate is an informal verb. You're right, converse is the correct word to describe exchanging thoughts and opinions. Absolutely. But again, sometimes I get tired of saying the same things over and over and it continues. So again, some of you are just adding to the stereotypes placed on many. And it's difficult enough without having others to make it worse, basically. When you know better, you do better. And I'm sure, I'm positive there are going to be some people who are offended by this. And honestly, I do not care anymore. I don't. Some of you need to hear this. You do. There was a time where many people of color took pride in how, hey there, Moon, how they spoke. Being presentable, being honest. Now we have people who have no problem of doing certain things on camera that, in my opinion, could be done off camera. You can still deliver your message, but certain things I feel as though we don't need to see. Now, do other platforms engage in this? Of course, but it doesn't make it right for them either. That's the purpose of the monthly series that I have. That was an excellent dialogue. We spoke about education and mental illness. The next one is going to be about the election policy versus policy and gender wars. And it's open to any culture who would like to offer their opinion. And it can be diverse. Anyone who thinks as though you have to agree with everything someone says, that's a problem as well. That's what the conversations are for, to get your perspective. If everyone is going to agree on everything that is said, then there's no way anyone can glean a different perspective. I expect different perspectives. The host expects and welcomes a different perspective. I had someone say to me, and it was completely, in my opinion, ridiculous. And it was said, I have a different opinion on those things, and that's why I didn't join. Well, number one, that's the purpose of a panel, to present your opinion. Because if others aren't aware that there are other perspectives out there, we wouldn't be able to have a conversation and take that into consideration. But these same people have debates. So again, that tells me that there are many of us that say they want to see people grow. But when you have the opportunity to build with professionals, people who actually are out there doing the work. And you give these empty and no disrespect, but again, I'm not biting my tongue anymore. Lame excuses. Again, that says a lot. And it gives credence to some of the things that I've heard from other people. Now, I'm going to do my own observations, of course, but if someone says something and then I see the same exact thing personally, it just makes me wonder. It really does. And that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. But again, you have to do what it is best for you. But realize what you say or how you respond as it relates to the conversation, and make sure that it makes sense before you press the send button. Hopefully, this message was received in a positive manner. That's how it was meant to be received from my observations. Remember, we have younger people coming behind us. And trust me, they listen to many things. And if you cannot communicate properly, chances are, if they're listening to the same things, they may end up the same way. Thank you. So, again, some people understand, others don't. And then there are others that they listen from the bushes and not type in. And I understand that as well. You have to do what's comfortable for you. So it is after the 1 hour mark. I am preparing to go to work. Hopefully, again, as I said, that message was received in a positive light. And perhaps in a way where you might look at things. I look at things differently when I hear certain messages. Will it happen with many people in this sector? Highly doubtful. Highly doubtful. I can only do my part, whether it's received or not. Even if one person received it, then I can be happy with that. Thank you to those that do, as I said, take a moment to come by and hit the like button, and to those who take a moment to share some of these videos and the lives. Again, the majority of people who actually do that do not look like me. So for those of you pushing this narrative about other races, I can't agree with that because it's the other races, the majority, that has supported this platform more than those that look like me. And again, I say that because there's evidence to show that they share it on their platform. People who look like me, not all, but many do not. So that narrative about charity beginning at home, yeah, it should be that way, but in actuality, for many on this platform, it isn't. I see it and I've seen it for a long time. And it's okay. But just know you shouldn't really push that type of narrative when you know you don't really support positive messages, positive topics, and talking points. Everyone enjoy this Monday, this last day of September. As always, be safe. Please be safe. Be well and please be healthier. Till next time. Bye bye for now. Thank you to those that came in, Mr. Vlad, Frog Prince, Course Soul, Angel, Rose, Guardian, Moon, Count Boy, Mukbang, and Saint Michael. Hopefully I didn't miss anyone. That was not my attention to. I think that's it. Temper Bell came in, I'm not sure. Almost. And Dinesh earlier. Yes. So again, that was my message. Hopefully, peace to you as well. Everyone was fine with that. If not, search deep within. And maybe, just maybe, you can understand that just as you do the bullshit that you consume on a daily.